So here is our brand new garden fence. It starts right next to our house. There's the gate to get in. And the fence is 4 feet tall on the outside perimeter. And in some places we have a double fence, like over there. And over here, we've got a string for the interior fence. And the theory is that it's a psychological deer fence, that the fence is not supposed to let deer come in because they have limited depth perception. So some places I put in a double fence, and I have a beautiful vision of putting like berries or grapevines on that interior fence. And then other places, like by the fruit trees, we left it single line as the psychological barrier. So far we've had the fence up, about a month, and we really just haven't had any problems with deer, though we are having some other critters help themselves to garden goodies. And it's a learning process this year in this new environment to figure out what we can grow and what we need to protect. So here's our main entrance to the garden. We've got a nice people gate here. And then the very first bed that we've got are tomatoes and basil. And it's been kind of a rough year for tomatoes, though this plant right here is doing beautifully. This is the black strawberry from Baker Creek. And this one just does so well every single year. The fruit is beautiful, and I just don't have any disease or pest pressure, so I need to keep growing this one. And I believe these seeds were a gift from Katie a few years back, so thank you, Katie. This is a good one. And it's interesting because all the tomatoes in this bed, and there's just a different variety. We've got Heatmaster, we've got Early Girl, but they all in this bed are doing really, really well. Like you can see, they're getting nice and tall. Almost, they'll be by the top of the poles by the end of summer. But this is really the only bed where they're just doing absolutely wonderful. And this bed tends to get more shade in the morning and even more in the afternoon. It's a little closer to the house, and I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. So this bed's doing amazing, and we're going to get some nice harvest from it. And all the zinnias, I just planted a bunch of zinnias for my garden flowers, like a variety pack, and they are like beautiful. They make me so happy. And then we moved to this bed, which is kind of a sad story. It had my lettuce and kale at the beginning of the year. We pulled that out when it got too hot. And so then I replanted it, and I planted it full of beets because I love beets and I haven't grown any yet. And they all came up, and then something started eating them. So I've got one beet that's still doing well, but all the rest of them have been eaten. I think it's grasshoppers. And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to start some indoors and then move them outdoors and then cover them. That's my plan. So we've got a tray of new starts in my seed starting room. We've got a random cosmos here. My zucchini did horribly, So I started a couple more zucchini plants, and those are looking pretty good. One's a yellow squash and one's a black beauty zucchini. And then we've also got like a lone sunflower. That's a teddy bear sunflower back there. So this bed is kind of sad right now, but I'm hoping to replace it with beet seedlings later on. Here we've got beans, and my beans are struggling. Again, something's eating them. I mean, you can see all the damage here. And I've got beans in lots of different places, and I'm getting lots of flowers, but I'm not getting a whole lot of beans developing, and I think it's because of all the damage. So not sure what's happening, not sure what to do about it. And I've grown a bunch of bush beans, so here I switched to some pole beans. We're starting those now. We'll see if they do any better. So far, nothing has eaten the pole beans, but it could be that they just haven't found it yet. So we will see what happens. I also started a little experiment, and I'm starting some baby tomatoes. These are like mini tomatoes, so I don't know if I have enough time to get those in before the end of the season, but I thought, heck, let's put some in. So those are just starting to germinate. I think this is my third round of dill. That's looking amazing. I just love dill. Next, we've got the onion bed, and I've harvested about 2/3 of this already, and those are curing in the garage. And these last ones, these are the white ones, they are still upright, so they're not ready to harvest, though it looks like some of them are starting to fall down, so I'll be pulling those out. And then this bed, I will probably be putting in some kind of a fall crop once these fully clear. Let's walk over to the greenhouse. That's an interesting experiment. So when you look into the greenhouse, my tomatoes look lush and big, and I've never grown tomatoes in a greenhouse before, so this is a total experiment. But there is something missing. Can you tell what it is? We have no fruit. There is a random fruit here and there, but even the fruit that's developing, let's see if I can get the camera to show you, it's not very big. It's just a little. I think this is a Roma tomato. So I'm guessing that it is because we just don't have enough light in here. Ooh, this one's not bad. That's a pretty good one. But that is the one tomato on that whole plant. So I think I have like 15 tomato plants in here, and I've got like less than 10 tomatoes that I can find. So this doesn't work. It's a waste of space to only get a handful of tomatoes. So that's a good lesson learned. And I'm going to let it go because I've got nothing else to put in here. But once I'm ready to put something else in here, I'll rip it all out. I do have some carrots growing, and that's exciting because I've always struggled getting carrots to germinate. So that's just a little fun thing that seems to be working so far. We'll see. Herbs are doing fantastic. I love that herbs are so easy to grow because they're a great win. Basil, sage. I've got all kinds of mint. I've harvested mint off of this twice already, and it looks like I could harvest some more pretty soon. I've got chives. Started all of this stuff from seed, and it's really starting to do well. Oregano. Oh, and look at this. Look at this. I've got lavender that I started from seed. I've never gotten lavender to grow this well, starting from seed. So I'm just beyond thrilled because lavender is one of my favorites. Oh, it smells so good. But it's such a slow starter, so I'm really thrilled about this. This is a mystery plant. It's a perennial flower. I have no idea what it is or if and when it's going to bloom, and I have it in several different places. So we'll see. That's kind of a surprise. And the lemon balm, this was a gift from Elena. She gave me, my neighbor, she gave me some from her garden, and it's of course doing wonderful. And so down here, oh, Bob just weed whacked, so it's covered with some grass, but that's okay. You can still see it. This is my perennial flower bed, one of them. And I am beyond thrilled with how well most of these are doing. I think all but 2 plants were started from seed. And while they're not huge, they're really starting to gain some traction. Of course, I love sage, and that's such an easy one to grow. So I've got lots of that. We've got Shasta daisies, echinacea. This is called blue gamma grass, and it's got these funny little, I don't know, seeds that kind of poke out. So this will be nice when it matures and gets a little bit bigger. We've got some Russian sage. I've got that in lots of different places. That's doing really well. And I know that can be invasive, but I really want to just cover up some ground with big stuff. So that's why I put it there. I've got this white yarrow. I've never grown that before, but that's super happy and doing really well. Here's that mystery plant again. We've got salvia. I've got that lots of different places. That's doing really well. And it's kind of at the end of its bloom, but it still looks pretty. And then, looky here, it's covered in grass, but another lavender from seed. I'm just so impressed with how well that's doing. Oh, and there's a little bee balm. I got that from a farmer's market. So it's not super big yet, but it'll get there. Okay, and then and this is my other perennial bed, which has a lot of the same flowers that we just looked at. And again, they were little for such a long time and weren't doing anything. And I kept fertilizing them and I kept watering them. And just in the last probably 2 to 3 weeks, they've really started taking off. And so the goal is that eventually all this stuff hopefully will cover up the green septic covers. But it's looking really good. Needs to be weeded again, of course. Here we got some primrose, and that's already bloomed. We've got a few little blooms left, and it's kind of on the edge, so I think I might have to move that. But, oh, and I don't know what this plant is. No idea. It is big, it's beautiful, it's healthy. I thought it was borage because it kind of looks like borage. See, don't they kind of have the same leaf structure? But it's not blooming. So maybe it's just borage that doesn't want to bloom. I don't know. It's a mystery. But look how pretty that salvia is. So happy with that. So I think give this a year or 2 and it's really going to fill in nice. And I'll keep popping in things where there's spaces. But I was thinking this was going to be just a sad disaster, and it really is coming along very nicely. So here's my second bed of tomatoes. And so like my mind is working, trying to figure out, you know, what's working and what's not so I can plan for next year. And what I find super interesting on this bed, here, let me get in this angle. There we go. So if you look, the left side of the bed, the tomatoes, super tall, going up the pole. But as you move towards the right, the tomatoes get shorter and shorter. So, and then of course behind it is that bed that's doing super well. All the tomatoes are super happy. But here we get a little bit more sun because we're further from the house and we don't get that shade. And the left side gets shade in a different way than the right side, and that way seems to be working better. Now, I could be totally wrong, and it could be something totally different that's causing it, but it makes me wonder. And then, as you move to the next bed over, this bed is more in the center, and it gets more full sun. Look at those tomatoes. they're like sad and sorry. They're putting on fruit. They've got more disease than the other ones do, and they're just not growing at the rate they should be. And like, I'm watering and fertilizing everything the same. So I do think that's really an interesting observation, that the placement of the tomatoes is impacting their growth. So it makes me think that maybe next year I need to put more tomatoes along the back edge that tend to get a little bit more sun, and put other things in these sunnier spots. So it's like I'm learning the lay of the land. In this bed, I've got tomatoes in the back, a beautiful marigold, and these are my cucumbers. Their unagi is the name of the variety, and they are not producing right now because it's just gotten really hot. And so the cucumbers that I'm getting right now, let's see, there's one growing in here. There it is. Yeah, that's what I'm getting right now. Weird, small, and not fully developing. However, I have canned 14 jars of pickle relish from the harvest earlier in the year. So these did really well. I don't know if I'll get anything else out of them, but I've been really happy with them. And they're a kind that doesn't need to be pollinated. So they've got all female flowers, and everything produces cucumbers that flowers. I mean, it really doesn't, but it could. So these have been good. Here we have more green beans. Same story, lots of bug pressure on these. And I think that's just interesting. Some things are getting eaten up. Like, I mean, these are just so sad. And other things aren't being touched. Fascinating. Okay, now this side of the bed looks kind of sad. This is where I had all of my celery and parsley, and I just finished harvesting all the celery. But if you look, they're growing new bits. So it's pink celery. So I'm just gonna let them grow, and maybe I'll get a second harvest in the fall. I don't have anything I want to put here, so it works out just fine. And then the parsley, of course, is regrowing too. I harvested a bunch of that, so plenty of those. That was a good, successful crop. Here is the giant watermelon. I grew the variety Moon and Stars. I bought from M.I. Gardner. And so far, we have one watermelon. And I've been watching, so I'm hoping it'll vine out, maybe produce a few more. But I'm excited just to have one. But I have it in this bag. There it is. Though this doesn't look like the Moon and Stars. I had a few other kinds of plants in there too, so that might be from something else. Mystery watermelon, but I'll take it. These are the Minnesota midget melons, and these seeds originated from my sister Katie in 2021. I found some seeds that she had given me, and I also had some seeds that I had saved after I grew hers. And this has been problematic, so I'll show you what's going on. I have some kind of critter that is eating these melons. I've lost 2 already. So then I put these little netting bags around, and look, last night somebody got through the bag, chewed through it, and ate the melon. So I'm a little frustrated that so far I'm not getting to eat these because something else is getting to them first. Yeah, and you can see like this baby one right here, something's eating it too. So Bob suggested putting like some metallic kind of a cover around it, like a little cage or something. So we're gonna keep trying things so I can figure out how to keep the critters not eating my melons. And that's why the watermelon is in a bag too, because I don't want I'm not growing it for them. I'm growing it for me. I also have okra. This is the first time I've grown okra. I just grew 3 plants, and I guess they get really big. And I'm enjoying having it to eat. I've only had a few servings, but you can see here are the little okras growing. So here's one. I bet within less than a week I'll be harvesting that one because they grow really fast once they get going. So that's been kind of a fun experiment, and I figured now that I live more southern, I need to have okra in my garden. In the next bed over, we've got zinnias in the back that are going crazy. I've got the purple bush beans, and these are really looking sad. They've been in the whole thing, but like I've got one more set of beans growing, so as soon as I think I harvest those, if they continue to grow, then I will be pulling those out because they're looking sad. And this, of course, has got me thrilled. We've got strawberries. I bought 1 pot of strawberries, divided it up, and then look, I've got like so many baby plants. I don't know the variety, but it seems to be an ever-bearing variety. And my plan is to, in the fall, divide them up and fill up a whole bed with strawberries. So hopefully we'll get a nice harvest in the spring. This is just a year of getting them established. We got a little bed right here of ground cherries. And you can probably see all the little bugs flying around. And if you lift them up, you can see the ground cherries. There we go, falling to the ground. Those are ready for harvest. Of course, these plants are covered in ground cherries. I've got 2 plants of these. And when they get happy, they just spread out everywhere. So, happy ground cherries. And my last bed that I've got out here in this part of the garden is pumpkins. I've got Dutch fork pie pumpkins. They are supposed to do really well in hot, humid climates. And of course they look really, really good. We do have 1 pumpkin so far that I've seen that's developing. And just like everything else, I've got it in a net bag because I don't want the critters to eat it, though I don't know if that's going to do the job. But like this guy's getting big already. So there's my hand. Kind of see how big he is. And so these are just really good sweet pie pumpkins. These are supposedly good for storage. And if I can get 1, I'll be super happy. If I get more, that'd be even better. So just like any garden, we've got some struggles and we're learning some things about this new climate. Oh, do you guys see the hummingbird right there? Oh, I hope I got that on camera. That's so cool. Yeah, it likes the zinnias. So this has been just a really good year for learning. I'm getting some produce for harvesting. But I'm really learning how to grow in this new environment. And I'm already thinking about what I want to put in for futures. I want to start focusing on berry bushes, maybe a couple more fruit trees, some grapes for Bob. He loves grapes. And then start getting more flowers to fill in lots of different areas. And it's kind of the same for these beds over here. Any plants that I put in really aren't growing very well. The weeds are doing great. This part needs to be weeded for sure. But so that's a problem to figure out. Maybe put in different soil. Maybe I need to figure out different plants that would work better in this shadier area. We shall see. And then my last garden bed is over here. choices are stop the cars from crashing into the house garden bed, and the coleus is super happy. I love growing coleus. It always gets so big and it's just so pretty. I also have some perennials in here that I'm pleased with their progress. This is Jacob's Ladder. It hasn't flowered yet, but they're looking super happy. This one is Verbascum, and it bloomed, though the bloom fell over. Isn't that pretty? I had 3 of these in here, and this is the only one that fully made it. The others, you can see right there, it got too wet because of all the rain and they rotted out. So this one and this one, I don't know if they're gonna make it or come back or not, but I'm just letting them go. Here, these are falling over because they're not getting enough light because of the coleus. This is Jupiter's Beard. At least I think it is. Unless I'm mixing those up, which is possible. And those are doing really well too. So I think the coleus has like taken over, but the coleus is just an annual. So I'll pull those out. Hopefully next year these will come back and they will fill up this space more as I continue to fertilize them. So that is a really nice bed with a little bit of color. My chickens are doing wonderful. The babies look like adults. They're still a little bit smaller, but it's really hard to tell the babies and the adults apart now. We've been moving things around, prepping for a new coop. So where you see all of those bricks, that is where our temporary coop right there used to be. So last week, Bob and I took that coop and we moved it from this spot further down here. And boy, was that a long day. Whew, rough job. So now, in this spot, this is where we're gonna get a brand new coop. We've ordered a small shed so that hopefully by winter time we have something that's a little bit more protective for the chickens. So they're enjoying life right now. It's hot for them, and so their production has gone down. But that's pretty normal for summertime. But everybody's happy, everybody's healthy, everybody is getting along for the most part. And the goats are doing great. They seem healthy. They are so much fun. We've been working on leash training them. And so we are taking them for walks around the property. Oh, maybe once a day if we get to it. And that's been really fun. They seem used to us. Yeah, and right now they're coming over and standing by the gate because they think I'm here to give them a walk. Oh, but we're gonna do that later. So that's Penelope right there. She's a sweetie pie. And then there's Olivia. Yeah, they're standing right in front of the gate ready to go for their walk. They're not going to be happy. So everything is going really well on our little homestead here. Every day we go and work in the morning while it's a little bit cooler. We do inside stuff in the afternoon. In the evenings, I've been swimming with friends, and it's just been a fabulous summer. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful summer too. Thanks for watching.